Folks, I'm going live now. Let's see if this works.
Whoever's ready is up.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking in place for Shaquille, who had to leave. My name is Karen Romero-Estrada.
Did you turn in a speaker's card?
I'm speaking in place for him.
Did you understand my question?
No, I didn't.
Did you turn in a speaker's card?
No, I didn't. I tried, but it was too late. So he had to leave. I'm speaking for him.
Thank you for the information. If you didn't turn in a card, whether you included your name or not, you understand.
I did
we
try.
don't just switch. You understand we don't just switch because we feel like it.
Switching all day.
More lawlessness.
Go ahead. Keep it to yourself, please.
Yes.
You all feel entitled to just weigh in because you want it your way. I understand you're special.
My name is Karen Romero-Estrada, and I'm a research and policy analyst at Accord. I was born and raised in Anaheim, California by two proud immigrant parents, and it is because of them that I stand here before you today. The OC Board of Supervisors has a responsibility and moral obligation in defending immigrants and to stand up against xenophobia and racism. As we've seen, the state has created policies, including SB 54, that provide some protections for immigrants. California has been a leader in immigration policy because the majority of us recognize that immigrants contribute so much socially, culturally, and politically. Immigrants, like my parents, are a vital part of our communities, and we must recognize the humanity of every person who calls our state home, no matter where they come from. SB 54 and stronger ordinances are sound policies that we must support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Supervisors.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. My name is Caitlin Ogala with Asian Americans Advancing Justice, and I'm here tonight to plead with you to not support this resolution because...
Hold on, just hold your time. We'll even start you over.
Okay.
It just feels like tonight.
Oh, it feels long.
I couldn't help but acknowledge that. Thank you for being here. It's still afternoon, although it may feel like we've been here longer. But we'll start your time over. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
It's been a long day for us too.
Yes.
Thank you.
both.
Go ahead.
Thank you all for listening to all of our opinions and the reasons why we're here today to protect our immigrant communities here in Orange County is because the California Values Act, the values that Orange County should be upholding, is the reason why it's such a vital part of our community. And SB 54 in California is fully within its rights to keep families together, respect due process rights, and protect against racial profiling by limiting the use of our Orange County resources to help Trump's deportation machine. And so, as many people have been saying that are against this, that are for this resolution, is that the fact that, as former UC Irvine Law School Dean Chmerkovskiy noted, under Supreme Court precedents, SB 54 should be upheld.
No.
The Supreme Court has ruled that the federal government cannot coerce state and local governments to cooperate with federal mandates. This is about California setting a minimum standard across the state for how we use our local resources. So I think it's very imperative that we change the narrative, that it's not about incarcerations or the criminal justice system, but that it is in fact
There's that crazy lady.
that we are protecting our immigrants here in Orange County.
Thanks for being here.
Immigrants have green cards.
Welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm Muhammad Asifuddin. I'm from ISOC, Islamic Society of Orange County. I strongly support SB 54. I strongly support SB 54. It is inhumane to separate families from each other. It's ruthless that the federal government is very
You guys get
racist,
killed.
and it has no course. So I'm glad that California, General Brown or what, they took a step. So I want you to
His family
support
was
all
separated.
SB 54. It's humane, and then
His
other thing
family
is
separated
that
forever.
you had congressmen up here,
Yep.
only one candidate. So I don't know, you have to discuss among yourselves to see if it was right to invite one candidate to this forum.
He wasn't
The
invited.
other thing is, we have, the congressman has supported $790 billion deficit. $790 billion.
Time's up.
Thank you for your.
$790 billion for deficit.
Time's up.
$1 billion for the homeless.
Thank you for.
Time's up.
Time's
you.
up.
It's for him.
No, it's you.
Time's up. Your time is up.
He's
Done.
conducting.
You don't have to argue with that. Thank you for your
Yeah.
comments.
Bye-bye.
But
We
I
appreciate
think
you
it
coming.
applies your rule to these all three.
When the light turns
appreciate
red,
it.
you stop.
We
appreciate you
Not
coming.
special.
That's right. You're not special.
The next 5 speakers are Bethany Anderson, Carlos Perez, S.N. Sainz, Aurora Garcia Barrera, and Joseph Chan.
Okay, go ahead, whoever's ready. Thank you.
My name is Bethany Anderson. I live and work in Fullerton, California, and I'm a leader in the Christian evangelical community here in Orange County. I am deeply opposed to this proposal.
Oh,
I can stand here and tell you countless stories of stats stories about immigrants who contribute to our economy, and about stats
I want to
about how
debate with you and her.
immigrants are less likely to commit crimes
Don't want you to
than
debate.
native-born citizens. But honestly, I know you don't care.
Cry.
So let's talk about something that you do care about, that all of us care about, our reputation and our legacy. In the 1960s, people sat in seats just like yours and vehemently opposed anything that advanced civil rights. And now we look back on them and we're ashamed, and we know that they were on the wrong side of history. We will win. History tells us that we will win. And so I
Wrong
will
side.
be able to look in my children, my grandchildren, and hopefully my great-grandchildren's eyes one day and tell them that I was on the right side of history. Will you be
No, you're
able to
not.
do the same thing? I urge you to join us. It's much better over here. Join the right side of history.
She's having a tantrum. It's so much better over here.
My name is Carlos Perea. I'm the Policy and Programs Director for Resilience Orange County. I will also be submitting 300 petitions by Orange County residents that are opposing this board's actions to attack our immigrant communities.
Only
So I'll put them right here. Thank you.
Only 300.
Now, we condemn these hateful and violent actions against all of our immigrant communities. These actions seek to create fear and anxiety and only serve one purpose: to fulfill your political agenda and ambitions. So Supervisor Nelson and Steele, so you are on the wrong side of history,
For the
and our
worst.
young people of color are watching you. Now, let's be clear. The #1 threat to public safety is white supremacy and nativist rhetoric that imposes ignorance and that always takes these violent communities and put us against each other. Thank you.
White supremacy by the Democratic Party.
Good afternoon. My name is Essen Sines. I'm with the Coalition of Orange County Community Health Centers. We do not support this resolution. We are in favor of SB 54. The Coalition is a consortium of safety net providers and key partners creating quality health care for vulnerable communities. Since January of 2017, there's been a tangible climate of fear and anxiety amongst our communities. It's caused our patients to be fearful of leaving their houses. They're not seeking their much needed health care services. There are limitations in place to enforcement actions that would occur in sensitive locations, those being health centers. Nonetheless, ICE enforcement has still showed up at health centers. They have showed up at elementary schools. SB 54, so rightly named the California Values Act,
Yeah.
represents the vast majority
Lack
of
of values.
California's population
No, it
in
doesn't.
support of our
No, it
immigrant
doesn't.
communities.
That's such a lie.
SB 54 keeps immigrant families together
No, it
and
doesn't.
standing up for those that are being targeted by the administration. SB 54 helps limit barriers to accessing healthcare. What you permit, you promote, and we are not the county that promotes barriers to healthcare. Thank you.
Ooh, do you have a door? Do you lock it? That's a barrier.
Wake up! You're misinforming.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, I'm Joseph. I support you guys. I really appreciate it. People like myself that are children of legal immigrants.
Yeah. Yeah.
I support you against being strong-armed by Sacramento, Jerry Brown, all of them. What happens when my parents or some of your parents who came here legally are they're victims of illegals who crash into their car, DUI? What are you left with? What can you do? Letting illegals in, it ruins, it disrespects all the legal immigrants and
Yep,
people that are
that's
waiting
right.
to come here. There is already a process.
Like
and
Miss Steele.
They like to, blur the lines between legal and illegal
Yeah.
immigrants. We have a process there. And, all that hateful rhetoric, they are the ones who are hateful, that attack anybody that has views other than their own.
Yes.
They are racist. We're brown, we're Asian, we have all kinds, you know.
That's right.
Thank you for
We're more diverse than they are.
Thank you.
Yeah! We're more diverse than they are.
After Aurora, the last two speakers are Sheena Innocente.
Thank God
and
it's almost
Gracie.
over.
Welcome.
Gracie.
Hello, my name is Aurora Garcia and I'm with the Children's Partnership. We're a kids advocacy group and we are here to express our opposition to your motion to adopt a resolution that condemns the California Values Act and undermines protections for our immigrant families. In California, half over 9 million children are children of immigrant families who are traumatized as a result of today's national climate. SB 54 was enacted to help safer communities, especially immigrant families who live in fear from being separated and targeted by immigration enforcement. By moving forward with this resolution, you are prioritizing an agenda that promotes fear and terror among your constituents, and is going against our state values to protect immigrants. The time is now to do all we can do to support California's children, youth, and their families, and we need you as our local leadership to rise above the national narrative of division and work together to protect, not separate.
Protect Americans.
Hi, my name is Sheena Innocente and I'm a social worker, and one of my ethical mandates is to defend the rights of people who are being oppressed. And I want to talk a little bit about the history of America and how race was invented by white men in order to enslave black people, and how at the time my Native American ancestors they rejected the idea of race, and they would actually take in
Did Mexico have
slaves
Hold
who
on
ran
just a
away.
moment. You can't see behind you. If you just hold our time. Guys, we don't have ring girls, so if both of you would have some self-respect, please, both of you have a seat. Both of you, please. She can hold whatever sign she wants. I'm sorry to interrupt you, and we'll put some more time back on the clock. I know you can. Go ahead, Shannon. Stay your peace. Go ahead. We reset your clock, so thank you.
My name is Sheena Innocente and I'm a social worker. I've lived in Orange County most of my life. I want to talk about the history of America and how race was constructed to oppress certain people. It was constructed to enslave black people, and at the time, the legal term for black people was slaves, but if somebody would have asked me to call a black person a slave at that time, I would have said no, because they're a human being, and you don't always respect the law when they're unjust.
That's my point.
In fact,
That's why we're
it's
doing
the
it.
most honorable thing to do to fight against laws that are unjust.
That's what we're doing.
I know that in the past, Orange County has been #1 in deporting juveniles, and I've spoke about this in the past, and I was very concerned about this. I personally experienced homelessness here in Orange County because my father's on a fixed income on SSI, and one of the families that took me in during my young adulthood was an undocumented family. I would probably not be here today if that family hadn't been so generous to help me out. We are a diverse community, we are multicultural. You will stand on the wrong side if you vote on this. You will be perceived as on the side of white supremacy and Trump support.
Lie.
We learned from the Berlin Wall that you can't stop mothers and fathers from feeding their children. You will never stop mothers and fathers from feeding their children.
Do you have a door? Do you lock it? Yeah, Gracie.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. If you could just reset the clock, Madam Clerk.
My name is Gracie Vandermark and I'm a resident of Huntington Beach. I want to thank you for bringing forth this resolution. There's many cities that are watching you today to see what it is you decide, including Huntington Beach, Aliso Viejo, Mission Viejo, and we are very happy that,
Los Alamitos.
Los Alamitos went ahead and decided to respect our Constitution. Walking in here, I got called a white supremacist, a xenophobe, a bigot, and just in here we got called a fascist. Our opposition to SB 54 has nothing to do with any of the above. It has everything to do with respecting our Constitution and following our laws, and it protects nobody other than criminals, people that committed a crime.
Yes.
I don't understand why people have a problem with people that committed a crime being deported. So I hope that we do support. I'm here in support of your resolution, and I want to thank you for that.
Yeah!
All right. Any other speakers?
No, we don't.
At least on this item. All right. Well, we'll bring it back to the board. Any comment from anyone? Supervisor Steele?
You know, as you can see that I'm a first-generation immigrant, and I went through the legal process, and I'm a legal immigrant.
Yes.
I've been hearing all those comments here. There is a long road ahead to fixing our broken immigrant system. But along the way, local law enforcement should absolutely cooperate fully within the constraints of federal law.
Yes.
We are not talking about here the law-abiding immigrants. We are talking about criminal aliens. This SB 54 is totally unconstitutional. That's
Yes.
why this resolution, and I'm moving this item. Thank you.
Amen.
All right, I'll second that. Supervisor Bartlett?
Thank you, Vice Chair. So due to AB 109 and Prop 47, we know that there may be a subset of the homeless population who may cause harm to both the general public and other homeless. One of the stories that my constituents and I fear is the case of Kate Steinley in San Francisco County, who was killed by a homeless undocumented immigrant.
Illegal.
One of the most important things we must not do is to reward bad behavior.
Yes.
If a person has committed a sexual, violent, or dangerous crime, they should be referred to the appropriate law enforcement or correctional programs. And if they are undocumented and committing crimes, they need to be deported.
Yeah.
Further, we must be certain that we are not providing assistance to undocumented immigrants who have chosen not to follow the rules.
That's right.
We need to look at every tool available to ensure public safety in the general public and homeless population. Otherwise, we will never be able to fully get public support behind homeless sheltering and housing solutions.
Absolutely.
Likewise, we must be vigilant in ensuring that the County of Orange never faces a tragedy like what happened in San Francisco.
Yes.
And at some point
That
in the
did
near future,
happen.
I'll be preparing and presenting a
Marcello.
public safety proposal for the Board of Supervisors for their consideration. But today, in looking at the resolution, the only thing I'd like to have is a friendly amendment on another whereas clause, and I'll read that at this time. Whereas the County of Orange will cooperate with federal agencies by not interfering or impeding with such agencies' efforts to enforce federal laws, including but
Yes.
not limited to immigration, customs, and/or public safety, including providing such agencies with access to the identities of those receiving public assistance from the county.
Wow. Love it.
All right. Any response to the request for the amendment? Yeah, do you have that typed up? Perhaps Supervisor Spitzer, go ahead with your comments, sir.
You want me to stand by until that?
Well, no, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chair. There's very few people in this room who've actually put somebody into custody for 10 years. I worked the streets of Los Angeles, and last week we buried a Pomona police officer. That police officer went up to a door, and rounds were fired through the door, killing that police officer. It wasn't related, as far as I know, to an immigration issue. But arresting people who have broken the law and having to do that on the streets, people's homes, gang areas, cars, on a car stop, one of the most dangerous situations when you walk up on a vehicle that's occupied and you can't tell as you're walking up how many occupants are in the vehicle other than the driver. Those are very, very scary moments.
Yep.
This issue for me is about community safety, certainly, but no one's talked about officer safety.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now, when the mayor of Oakland,
Shame on
Lily
her.
Schaff,
Ooh.
pronounced a plan that was going to be implemented in her city of Oakland, honestly, upon what she did, she should be looking at officer. Everybody's been in that position to try to take somebody into custody in a facility where that person's been there. They already access to boys or homegirls, access to whatever you can boo me.
So zip it. Yeah. How about that?
When you have access to weapons, or you have to execute a search warrant, or you have to penetrate a door, whatever it takes. The fact of the matter is, that's dangerous. And so what this allows is, the appropriate handing off of somebody who's in custody. Now, the Sheriff's Department announced, did you guys talk about the website issue yet? The Sheriff's Department announced yesterday, on the 26th actually, that starting on the 26th, the Sheriff's Department is just going to put every single in custody in Orange County on the website.
Yeah!
And the reason they're going to do that is because now everybody with their release date will be publicized.
Everybody.
And that way, any agency
There you go.
who may be looking for somebody in
Brilliant.
another custodial facility is going to be able to find the release date, and it won't take any transfer of information that's prohibited, at least heretofore, under SB 45.
54.
Excuse me. So the point being is that irrespective of what we do here now, the Sheriff's Department has already made it abundantly clear that they're going to publicize this starting last week. And anybody who wants to know the release date, family member, other law enforcement agencies and the like, is going to have access to that information. So for me, Mr. Vice Chair, this is an officer safety issue. And I've gone to too many police officers' funerals.
Yep.
I buried too many or watched them be buried, too many police officers. And I'm not going to allow the creation of a public safety issue while there's a handoff in terms of somebody being in custody. That for me is my vote. This is about officer safety. Thank you very much.
Yeah!
Any other comments? I know we're working on the,
That guy has no manners. He flipped me
Working on
off
that.
right there. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I'll keep it brief.
I know.
But it saddens me that you get to a point, and you've seen some of it in the room today, you know, people have disagreements, but we've gotten to a point where there's some entitlement mentality amongst folks that if you disagree with me, you have to be a bad person. You have to be morally bankrupt if you don't see the world the way I do. I'm not a racist. I don't care what religion you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's self-entitling. You have to be marginalized. Look at your sort of pyramid of argument. Sort of the righteous argument starts with just factually refuting something put forward.
Right.
The weakest argument is just throw out the name column.
Yep. And the race card.
So everybody that disagrees with me just has to be a racist, a bigot, intolerant. And that's not going to change because of anything I say.
Yeah.
All I can tell anyone listening is this. From a legal standpoint, what we are choosing to do with asking our county council to intervene in the litigation is not to go rogue, but to get in front of the court, hopefully offer our perspective, offer our law enforcement, so they see it our way. I fear what sheriffs from other communities might say. I've heard some of the rhetoric. Their duty, as they see it, is to somehow go out and protect people that are not in this country legally. I have nothing against anyone, but our duty always has to be, first and foremost, to the citizens.
Yeah! Yeah!
It's bizarre to me, and it's awful convenient that these interest groups, you purposely try to suggest that coercion and cooperation are the same thing. They are not. Our law enforcement, I don't have any interest, nor do we have the budget for our law enforcement agency to do anybody else's job, even if they agree with us.
That's what we're talking about.
But to cooperate is not coercion. It's not picking up their responsibilities.
Right.
Right? You can all help me by just cooperating. Tell me something I need to know, even if it's my job. You may intellectually be incapable of understanding that, but it is factually true. So this entitlement mentality that all immigrants are the same. Look, if you're in custody and you have a green card status or something, you're in no jeopardy.
Yep.
We have a right to know who's here and what they're doing.
Yes.
And for the
Yeah.
brought up the fact that are Her parents were given amnesty during the mid-'80s. Good for them, and it's fantastic to see they've had a productive life. But you know what? The whole problem is we're reliving it again, and it was totally predictable. We need substantial immigration reform. But if we don't reform things and start following, what's the point of anything if people can just act like we don't have rules, we don't enforce anything,
Right.
and thinks we enforce the rules is so the fact of the world we live in, it's all around us. I'm supportive of this for one reason. Law enforcement officers uphold, everyone takes an oath. Another law enforcement agency somehow puts them in violation of the law, merely by talking to each other.
Yeah.
That's just not right. Expand immigration. Our way there is by ignoring all the rules.
No.
I'm going to be supporting this.
Yeah.
Remember, the resolutions are largely just that. I mean, it's symbolic, but we have our legal action. We'll see what the court does. Hopefully, they'll issue a restraining order, and
Yes.
law enforcement can go back to just doing what they do, and they won't have
Thank
to
you.
worry about violating some state law that conflicts their duties.
Thank
Supervisor
you.
Steele?
Yeah, just a question for this amendment here. The last sentence, the providing such agencies with access. I know that we're not gonna interfere with the feds, but access to the identities of those receiving public assistance from the county. Can you just clarify just that part?
Right, the intent there is we need to know if we're providing public assistance to undocumented criminals. That's
Oh, I see. So you, can we just clear up?
We propose to provide assistance to undocumented criminals.
They are getting it. Illegal alien kids and adults are getting health care.
That's why I added this whereas clause, to provide that clarity for the county officials, our county agencies.
Based on a myth.
Undocumented people get away.
Supervisor Spitzer, you have your light on, so I'll turn to you.
We
but
could
I do-
also have county council weigh in on this as well.
Well, I actually was prosecuted for a while, the receiving of benefits, and if you are here unlawfully, you're not entitled to benefits.
But they're still getting them.
So, hold on. So, we do have a child division and a welfare benefits division, sure, across the street, sure. Before we had about, and to put this in now, complicated and potentially, we just
have more clarity. And just at the end, basically, it says access to the assistance county as permitted.
Well, I would just suggest not waste that time. I don't know what that drags us into, and it's a little bit of a different view that I looked into and studied. It's only
The additional whereas clause, but I'll go with the will of my colleagues. The important thing is that we get some
comment. All right. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, that passes with all members.
Oh. Yeah! 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 How about yeah! One city, one county at a time. This is great. Way to go. Gracie.
Americans first.
Yeah!
Maybe we'll. All right, well, it's about our meeting right now, so.